Here.
Director of Law Riley,
Here.
Director of Finance Single.
Here.
And I am also here. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We have minutes that have been distributed for the November 23rd, 2020 meeting. If there's any
Director of Law Riley.
there are any amendments or changes, let us know. If not, I would take a motion to approve those minutes.
So moved.
Thank you, Councilman
Second.
Minnick. Thank you, Director
Second.
Single. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the minutes are approved. The first item on our agenda for tonight is Sylvester Truck and Tire Service. Director, if you can give us a little background on that, please.
Absolutely. The Sylvester Truck and Tire Service Company is making available tires for 3 of our pickup trucks, a sign and signal truck, and a dump truck. These are being purchased from the state's cooperative purchase contracts. So they've been publicly bid for our use, and the costs are at $5,142.04.
Okay, how many tires are there?
So there are 4 tires per each vehicle.
Okay. Are there any other questions? Okay, if not, take a motion to approve this item.
So made.
Director Single, thank you. Second by Councilman Minnick. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item's been approved. Our second item is Buckeye Power Sales Company for repairs to the Sherwood West 220 pump station.
Thank you. We're seeking funds at $6,979.31 to make emergency repairs to a generator that operates that pump station located near West 220 on Sherwood. This is critically important to keep our sanitary sewer system operational. And, we just saw recently 2 storms, one November 15th and one December 1st, that impacted trees and limbs and power. We're critically aware of the necessity for having a working generator at this facility. So I appreciate your consideration in approving this purchase.
So this is for the generator that's there now, or is that for the repairs?
This is for the repairs to the existing generator. We have had a stand-in unit connected to the pump station just to make sure, and we've disconnected the existing generator, but we'd like to get moving on these repairs so we can get rid of our rented generator and move back into using the one that was designed and installed for this pump station.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? I would take a motion to approve this item.
So moved.
Director Riley, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, Councilman Minnick. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, the item is approved. Number 3, Partners Manufacturing Group relating to emergency materials to repair our leaf vacuum machine. You can explain that one to us, please,
Okay.
Director.
So we had repairs to one of our leaf vacuum machines. It's just reaching an age where it's requiring more expensive repairs to keep in operating status. So belts, bearings, parts to rebuild a portion of the operating system, including a PTO, which is a pump that circulates the fluid through the system, and they're somewhat expensive. So the total cost here for these parts that our mechanic will use and get the machine back in operating order, total $7,502.42, or excuse me, 46 cents.
Okay, are these parts interchangeable with the other, with the various machines that we have?
I know that,
Specific to,
right, we try, it's an important aspect of our equipment that we can have parts on the shelf, for most things, but this particular machine, the PTO is too expensive to have parts on the shelf, and I believe they just had gone through the parts on their shelf during the course of the leaf machine. So while many of the things that we have on hand to keep things in operating order are usually at the ready, this PTO is not something that we usually have on the shelf. But yes, most of our leaf collection machinery can have those interchangeable parts so that we're never really short a lot of equipment.
okay. Are there any other questions? Comments? There being none, I'd take a motion to approve this item.
So made.
Director Single, is there a second?
Second.
Councilman Minnick, thank you. All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, the item has been approved. And number 4, purchase from Atwell's Police and Fire Equipment Company.
Thank you. This purchase is for replacement bullet resistant vests for 8 of our police personnel. These 8 personnel have vests that are older than 5 years, and the warranty for this equipment only is valid for 5 years. So we would like to offer our personnel equipment that we can confidently say is warranted for their protection, and that the city would have that warranty for that equipment in effect. So the vests are $950 each. The total costs are $6,958.20. And I'll entertain any questions if there are any.
It says 6,598. Is that correct?
$6,598.20. Yes, I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Just want to make sure we had the right thing on the record.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, there being none, I would take a motion to approve this item.
So moved.
Councilman Minnick?
Second.
Okay, that's appropriate from a former councilman and a former police officer and the son of a police officer. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, item's been approved. I think that's it.
That's all.
Director? Okay, thank you, Director.
Thank you.
Thank you.
A motion to adjourn,
So moved.
Councilman Minnick.
Second.
Okay, Director Single. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Okay, thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thanks, Liz, for
Thank
setting
you.
it up.
Thank you, Liz, for this, as well as all your work on the on your agenda as well. Thank you very much.
stuff that I have up for second reading, can I do them all together? Like you have on the, I could say 51 through 55. I don't have to do them each individually for second read.
It's gonna cost you, Bridget.
How much? I'm willing to pay.
Yeah, you can do it as a group.
All right, thank you.
I'll be using my Chromebook tonight, so it appears I don't have a camera, so you won't see my smiling face.
Ooh.
Yeah, so yeah, I was having trouble with my computer, so, and I didn't know this didn't have a camera, but I'm here. And Liz, I can freely eat snacks because you can't see me.
I can see you.
Yeah, can you?
Yeah, we can do it now.
Oh, how come I'm looking at, what I'm looking at is a black square.
Do you have a screen thing at the top to slide over? No, I mean like on physically on your like
Your monitor.
a camera cover basically.
No, I don't think so.
Should be right in the center.
There's nothing.
Well,
that
but
I'm
we can
aware of.
see you,
All right,
so
am
if
I
it was covered, we wouldn't be able to see you. So that's not right.
This is true. Okay, it's just funny because what I'm looking at is just, it's black. So much for my opportunity to eat freely.
That's right. No snacking for you, Maureen.
No
Okay.
incognito for you.
Bridget, I had to compliment you on your background. I meant to do it
Thank
the
you.
last meetings. Very impressive.
Thank you. My sister did it for me.
That is really nice.
Thank you.
I gotta amp up my game here. I have like an old clock that I don't know if anybody noticed. It just randomly chimes, and it's not the right time or anything. But then I'm looking at your pretty little backdrop. Well, one
Well,
of
thank
these.
you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's really impressive. I like it. Tell your sister nice work.
All right. Thank you.
All right, good evening, everybody.
Hi, Mike.
Hey, Mike.
We'll start our caucus now. I think we have everyone, don't we?
There. Yep.
All council here? Good. Okay,
Yep.
did everyone get a chance to check out the the regular meetings minutes of October 19th, November 2nd, and November 16th? Everyone review those?
Mhm.
All right, well, I'll be entertaining a motion to approve those all separately this evening. Okay, everyone's all set with their committee reports for tonight. Everyone has a committee report?
Yes.
Very good. Okay, everyone's all set with legislation for this evening.
Yes,
Okay, great. Very efficient. Moving right along. Let's see. Roundtable. Brian, do you have anything?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Bill, do you have anything for roundtable?
just the Board of Control meeting, which was held earlier.
Okay. Taking a report on that second time around?
I can if necessary.
Oh, okay. Yeah, whatever you want.
Okay.
All right, thanks. Maureen, do you have anything for roundtable?
No, really, just I thought we handled the snowstorm very well, the service department. You know, one gentleman piped in with some comments, but in the whole city to have only one man, you know, complain about anything, that's pretty good.
No, I agree. I thought the service department handled it very well. Sarah, do you have anything for roundtable? Sarah?
You're on mute, Sarah.
I'm muted. I have nothing, thank you.
Thank you. Bridget?
Yeah, I just wanted to thank Mary Kay for those emails about the snow and also about the limbs. That was great information for, and it helped me get other information out. So thank you very much. And that's it.
Okay, thanks. Greg?
No, I don't have anything. Thanks.
Liz, do you have anything tonight?
Just one thing. I have gotten the oh my gosh, why can't I think of the name of them? Surfaces in for everyone. So I'm going to be working with GoToIt to get those set up and out to everyone, and hopefully so you can kind of test with them and go full steam ahead by the first meeting of the year. So stay tuned and I'll give you updates on that.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, I too would just mirror everyone else's comments about the service department, and also thank Director Costello for keeping us in the loop with everything. Great job.
Mike, you want me to make the motion for the extension of the P&D Commission?
Yeah, that'd be great, Bill.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so if there's nothing else for caucus, we have about 10 minutes and we'll start the regular meeting. All right,
Sounds good.
thank you. All right, everybody. The regular meeting of the Council of the City of Fairview Park for Monday, December 7th, 2020 is now called to order. Have a moment of silent reflection. Okay, will the clerk please call the roll? Liz, are you with us? Have we lost our host?
No, I don't think so. It's what is going on here?
More fun with Zoom.
Ah,
You're back, Liz.
okay.
Go ahead and call the roll if you'd like.
Mr. Simmerly,
Here.
Mr. Minnick,
Here.
Mrs. Adler,
Here,
Mr. Kilbane,
Here.
Mrs. Waring,
Here.
Mrs. King,
Here.
Mr. Berger.
Here.
All right. The chair will now entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of council October the 19th, 2020.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
second,
Any discussion? Hearing none, will the clerk please call roll on the motion?
Mr. Simmerly,
Yes.
Mr. Minnick,
Yes.
Mrs. Adler,
yes,
Mr. Kilbane,
Yes.
Mrs. Waring,
Yes.
Mrs. King,
Yes.
Mr. Berger.
Yes.
Motion carries. The chair will now entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of council of November the 2nd, 2020.
So moved.
second,
Any discussion? Hearing none, will the clerk please call roll on the motion?
Mr. Simmerly,
Yes.
Mr. Minnick,
Yes.
Mrs. Adler,
yes,
Mr. Kilbane,
Yes.
Mrs. Waring,
Yes.
Mrs. King,
Yes.
Mr. Berger.
Yes.
Motion carries. Chair will now entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of council November the 16th, 2020.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, will the clerk please call roll on the motion?
Mr. Simmerly,
Yes.
Mr. Minnick,
Yes.
Mrs. Adler,
yes,
Mr. Kilbane,
Yes.
Mrs. Waring,
Yes.
Mrs. King,
Yes.
Mr. Berger.
Yes.
Motion carries. The minutes are approved. Okay, we will now have this evening's committee reports, starting with the Environment, Public Works, Planning, Zoning, and Development. Councilman Minnick, Chair.
Thank you, Council President. The Environment, Public Works, Planning, Zoning Development Committee met on Monday, November 23rd, 2020, to discuss two ordinances. Participating in the discussion were members of Council, Mayor Cooney, and Public Service Director Cooney. Ordinance 2048, plans and specifications for Bain Park Restroom. The city received funding in the amount of $89,808.25 from the Ohio Department of Natural Resources, ODNR, 2019 Land and Water Conservation Fund to relocate and reconstruct a restroom at Bain Park. The city will match the funding amount for a total of $179,616.50. McKay Engineering and Surveying Company, the city engineer, will be paid $18,000 to prepare plans, specifications, and provide construction administration and procurement services. Director Costello stated a new restroom will be closer to the playground and pavilion. Mayor Cooney requested this ordinance be passed at the first council meeting in January 2021. Motion to place this ordinance on second reading and subsequent third reading was approved 7-0. Ordinance 2049, plans and specifications and provide construction, administration, and bidding services for water main replacements and pavement resurfacing on Cromwell Avenue, Parkwood Avenue, and Bain Park Drive. McKay Engineering and Surveying Company, once again, the city engineer, we paid $104,000 for their services. The City of Cleveland Division of Water will reimburse our city for the water main portion of the project. The City of Fairview Park will fund the resurfacing portion. Once again, Mayor Cooney requested this ordinance be passed at the first council meeting in January of 2021. Motion to place this ordinance on second reading and subsequent third reading was approved 7-0. This completes my report.
Thank you for the report, Councilman Minnick. The Local Government and Community Services report, Councilwoman Waring.
Thank you, Council President. The Local Government and Community Services Committee met on November 23rd via teleconference, beginning at 7:08 p.m. Present for the discussion were members of Council, Director Riley, Director Kemp, and other members of the administration. The committee discussed Ordinance 2045, which updates the city's codified ordinances. A request was made to pass this ordinance until the new year. A motion to leave Ordinance 2045 was in committee was passed by a vote of 7-0. The committee discussed Resolution 2017, which establishes a diversity, equity, and inclusion task force in the city of Fairview Park. A whereas clause was recommended to establish that the group was not just an anti-racism group, but also wanted to focus on the other areas of equity in Fairview Park as well. The application form was finalized and a motion to leave the resolution in committee was passed 7-0. The committee discussed Ordinance 2050, which sets the 2021 Gemini membership fee. Director Kemp and Mayor Cooney explained their reasoning to hold the rates steady, including the pandemic and allowing Director Kemp time to do some benchmarking against other cities. Per Director Single, the Gemini Center has a carry forward balance that can help offset the cost of operations if needed. A motion was made to return this ordinance to committee and it passed by a vote of 7-0. The committee discussed Fairview Park Codified Ordinance 1145.18, temporary political signs. Currently, the ordinance, which dictates the length of time political signs can be displayed previous to and after an election, is viewed as unenforceable due to precedent set by the Supreme Court. Councilman Minnick asked the law director to review the ordinance and provide an opinion. The law director indicated that it is not enforceable, but suggests leaving it on the books anyway. Council discussed whether it was responsible to leave an ordinance on the books that we aren't going to enforce. The issue was returned to committee for further discussion by a vote of 7-0. Local Government and Community Services ended at 8 p.m. This concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you for the report, Councilwoman Waring. We now have the Finance Committee report, Councilwoman King.
Thank you, Council President. The Finance Committee met via video conference on Monday, November 23rd at 8 p.m. In attendance were members of Council, Mayor Cooney, Director Costello, Director Single, Director Riley, and members of the community. Resolution 2016, placing the fire levy renewal on the May 2021 ballot was discussed. Director Single has received all the necessary paperwork, so this resolution can now be passed. A motion was made for this resolution to be on third read and final passage, and it passed with a vote of 7-0. Ordinance 2051, 2020 Supplemental Appropriations. Mayor Cooney and Director Single both discussed the pandemic and how it affected the city. Director Single went over the 2020 appropriations and answered all of our questions. A motion was made for this ordinance to be on second read and remain in committee, and it passed with a vote of 7-0. Ordinance 2052, the 2021 temporary appropriations. Director Single went over the temporary appropriations and answered all of our questions. A motion was made to move this ordinance to second read and remain in committee, and it passed with a vote of 7-0. Ordinance 2053, amending section 143.23 vacation leave. Mayor Cooney and Director Single both discussed the changes and the need for this ordinance. A motion was made for this ordinance to be on second and subsequent third read, and it passed with a vote of 7-0. Ordinance 2054, amending section 143.30, payment upon separation. Again, Mayor Cooney and Director Single both discussed the changes that were made and the need for this ordinance. A motion was made for this ordinance to be on second and subsequent third read, and it passed with a vote of 7-0. Ordinance 2055, authorizing contract for the pool pack maintenance and associated equipment. Director Costello explained the need for the maintenance on the pool pack at the Gemini Center. And all the questions were answered, and a motion was made for this ordinance to be on second and subsequent third read, and it passed with a vote of 7-0. Resolution 2018, the county fiscal officer to advance taxes for 2021. Director Single explained the need for this resolution, and then a motion was made for this resolution to be on second and subsequent third read, and it passed with a vote of 7-0. The Finance Committee concluded at 8:58 p.m. This concludes my report.
Thank you for the report, Councilwoman King. Okay, we will begin this evening's legislative agenda with legislation for first read. Councilman Minnick.
Thank you, Council President. A resolution for first reading.
The clerk will sign a number and read the title.
Resolution 2020, requested by Mayor Patrick Cooney, sponsored by Council President Kilbane and Councilman Minnick, co-sponsored by Council members Simmerly, Adler, Waring, King, and Berger. A resolution extending the establishment of temporary outdoor patio dining areas and declaring an emergency.
Thank you. Okay, Resolution 2020 is placed on first reading and assigned to the Environment, Public Works, Planning, Zoning, and Development Committee. Councilwoman King.
Thank you, Council President. I have 8 ordinances and 1 resolution to be placed on first reading tonight.
Would the clerk please assign numbers and read the titles?
Ordinance 2050, originated by Greg Single, Finance Director, requested by Mayor Patrick Cooney, sponsored by Councilwoman King. An ordinance authorizing the Finance Director to transfer funds to the specified account and declaring an emergency. Ordinance 2058, requested by Mayor Patrick Cooney, sponsored by Councilwoman King. An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with James G. Zupka, CPA, Incorporated, to audit the basic financial statements of the City of Fairview Park for fiscal years 2020 through 2024 and declaring an emergency. Ordinance 2059, requested by Mayor Patrick Cooney, sponsored by Councilwoman King. An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with James G. Zupka, CPA, Incorporated, for generally accepted accounting principles, conversion, and comprehensive annual financial report, CAFR, preparation, professional services for fiscal years 2020 and 2021, and declaring an emergency. Ordinance 2060, requested by Finance Director Greg Single, sponsored by Councilwoman King. An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement for support services with Software Solutions Incorporated and declaring an emergency. Ordinance 2061, requested by Mayor Patrick Cooney, sponsored by Councilwoman King. An ordinance providing for the issuance and sale of not to exceed $950,000 of notes in anticipation of the issuance of bonds for the purpose of constructing, reconstructing, repairing, and equipping the roof of the city's recreation complex and improvements appurtenant thereto, and related building and site improvements, and declaring an emergency. Ordinance 2062, requested by Mayor Patrick Cooney, sponsored by Councilwoman King. An ordinance authorizing the mayor of the City of Fairview Park, Ohio, to enter into an agreement with the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, AFSCME, Local 2681, and declaring an emergency. Ordinance 2063, requested by Mayor Patrick J. Cooney, sponsored by Councilwoman King. An ordinance authorizing the mayor of the city of Fairview Park, Ohio, to enter into an agreement with the Ohio Patrolmen's Benevolent Association and declaring an emergency. Ordinance 2064, originated by Mayor Patrick Cooney, sponsored by Councilwoman King. An ordinance establishing the salary ranges for various offices and positions of the municipal government, repealing all other ordinances or parts of ordinances inconsistent herewith, and declaring an emergency. Resolution 2021, requested by Senior Life Interim Director Laura Brandos, sponsored by Councilwoman King, co-sponsored by Councilman Minnick. A resolution approving the mayor entering into a contract with the Western Reserve Area Agency on Aging to accept grant funds from said agency for the city's programs under the Title III of the Older Americans Act of 1965, which provides funding for transportation, nutrition, and support services, and partial funding for supplemental programs thereunder for 2021, and declaring an emergency.
All right, thank you. Okay, ordinances 2057, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 54, and resolution 2021 are all placed on first reading and assigned to the Finance Committee.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll now have legislation for second reading. Councilman Minnick.
Thank you, Council President. I would like to place ordinances 2048 and 2049 on second reading.
The clerk, please read the titles.
Ordinance 2048, requested by Mary Kay Costello, Director of Public Service and Development, sponsored by Councilman Minnick, co-sponsored by Councilwoman King. An ordinance authorizing McKay Engineering and Surveying Company to prepare plans and specifications and provide construction administration and procurement services for the relocation and reconstruction of a restroom at Bain Park and declaring an emergency. Ordinance 2049, requested by Mary Kay Costello, Director of Public Service and Development, sponsored by Councilman Minnick, co-sponsored by Councilwoman King. An ordinance authorizing McKay Engineering and Surveying Company to prepare plans and specifications and provide construction administration and bidding services for water main replacements and pavement resurfacing on Cromwell Avenue, Parkwood Avenue, and Bain Park Drive, and declaring an emergency.
All right, thank you. Ordinances 2048 and 2049 are both placed on second and subsequent third reading. Councilwoman Waring.
Thank you, Council President. I'd like to place ordinance 2050 up for second reading.
Will the clerk please read the title?
Ordinance 2050, requested by Mayor Patrick Cooney, sponsored by Councilwoman Waring. An ordinance setting the membership user fee schedule for the Fairview Park Recreation and Community Center, Gemini Center, for the year 2021 and declaring an emergency.
Thank you. Ordinance 2050 is placed on second reading and returned to the Local Government and Community Services Committee. Councilwoman King.
Thank you, Council President. I would like to place ordinance 2051 through ordinance 2055 and resolution 2018 up for second reading tonight.
Okay, would the clerk please read the titles?
Ordinance 2051, requested by Greg Single, Finance Director, sponsored by Councilwoman King. An ordinance appropriating funds for current expenses and other expenditures of the city of Fairview Park, Ohio, for the period commencing January 1st, 2020 and ending December 31st, 2020, and declaring an emergency. Ordinance 2052, originated by Greg Single, Finance Director, requested by Mayor Patrick Cooney, sponsored by Councilwoman King. An ordinance appropriating funds for current expenses and other expenditures of the city of Fairview Park, Ohio, for the period commencing January 1st, 2021 and ending March 31st, 2021, and declaring an emergency. Ordinance 2053, requested by Mayor Patrick Cooney, sponsored by Councilwoman King, co-sponsored by Councilwoman Waring. An ordinance amending section 143.23B entitled Vacation Leave of Chapter 143 entitled Employment Provisions of the Codified Ordinances of the City of Fairview Park and declaring an emergency. Ordinance 2054, requested by Mayor Patrick Cooney, sponsored by Councilwoman King, co-sponsored by Councilwoman Waring. An ordinance amending section 143.30 entitled Payment Upon Separation of Chapter 143 entitled Employment Provisions of the Codified Ordinances of the City of Fairview Park and declaring an emergency. Ordinance 2055, requested by Mary Kay Costello, Director of Public Service and Development, sponsored by Councilwoman King. An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with the Brewer Garrett Company to provide preventative maintenance services for the pool pack rooftop mechanical units and associated equipment servicing the Gemini Center Leisure Pool and declaring an emergency. Resolution 2018, requested by Greg Stingle, Finance Director, sponsored by Councilwoman King. A resolution requesting the county fiscal officer to advance taxes from the proceeds of tax levies pursuant to section 321.34 of the Ohio Revised Code and declaring an emergency.
Thank you. Ordinances 2051 and 2052 are placed on second read and returned to the Finance Committee. Ordinances 2053, 2054, 2055, and Resolution 2018 are placed on second, subsequent, third reading. Okay, it's now time for audience input on legislation that's up for passage this evening. Clerk Westbrooks, have we received any communications? Anyone wishing to speak on resolution or on legislation that is up for passage this evening?
No, I didn't receive anything for legislation that's up for passage.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, so now we'll now have legislation on passage without three readings. Councilwoman King.
Thank you, Council President. I have an ordinance to be placed before council for emergency passage.
Would the clerk please assign a number and read the title?
Ordinance 2065, requested by Mary Kay Costello, Director of Public Service and Development, sponsored by Councilwoman King, co-sponsored by Councilman Minnick. An ordinance authorizing emergency tree work for the city of Fairview Park and declaring an emergency.
Councilwoman King.
Thank you, Council President. I move that charter provision in Rule 49 requiring that ordinance 2065 be read at 3 separate meetings be suspended and that it be placed before council for emergency passage.
So moved. Do I have a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none, will the clerk please call roll on the motion?
Mr. Simmerly,
Yes.
Mr. Minnick,
Yes.
Mrs. Adler,
Yes.
Mr. Kilbane,
Yes.
Mrs. Waring,
Yes.
Mrs. King,
Yes.
Mr. Berger.
Yes.
The motion carries. Councilwoman King.
Thank you, Council President. I move that Rule 53 requiring reference to committee be dispensed with and ordinance 2065 be placed for final passage.
So moved. Do I have a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All right, hearing none, will the clerk please call roll on the motion?
Mr. Simmerly,
Yes.
Mr. Minnick,
Yes.
Mrs. Adler,
Yes.
Mr. Kilbane,
Yes.
Mrs. Waring,
Yes.
Mrs. King,
Yes.
Mr. Berger.
Yes.
Motion carries. Prior to call for passage of ordinance 2065, is there any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, will the clerk please call roll on passage of ordinance 2065?
Mr. Simmerly,
Yes.
Mr. Minnick,
Yes.
Mrs. Adler,
Yes.
Mr. Kilbane,
Yes.
Mrs. Waring,
Yes.
Mrs. King,
Yes.
Mr. Berger.
Yes.
Ordinance 2065 passes. Okay, we will now have legislation for third and final passage. Councilwoman King.
Thank you, Council President. I would like to place ordinance 2046 up for final passage.
Would the clerk please read the title?
Ordinance 2046, requested by Mayor Patrick J. Cooney, sponsored by Councilwoman King. An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with the Cuyahoga County Board of Health for health services for the year 2021 and declaring an emergency.
Thank you. Prior to call for passage of ordinance 2046, is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none, would the clerk please call roll on passage of ordinance 2046?
Mr. Simmerly,
Yes.
Mr. Minnick,
Yes.
Mrs. Adler,
Yes.
Mr. Cobain,
Yes.
Mrs. Waring,
Yes.
Mrs. King,
Yes.
Mr. Berger.
Yes.
Ordinance 2046 passes. Councilwoman King.
Thank you, Council President. I would like to place Resolution 2016 up on third read and final passage.
Okay, would the clerk please read the title?
Resolution 2016, requested by Mayor Patrick J. Cooney, sponsored by Councilwomen King and Waring. A resolution submitting to the voters the question of a renewal of a tax for the benefit of the city of Fairview Park for the purpose of providing and maintaining fire apparatus, buildings, payment of firefighters' salaries, employers' contribution required under section 742.34 of the Ohio Revised Code, purchasing ambulance equipment for providing ambulance, paramedic, or other emergency medical services at a rate not exceeding 1 mil for each $1 of valuation, which amounts to 10 cents for each $100 of valuation for 5 years, commencing in 2021, first due in calendar year 2022, and declaring an emergency.
Thank you. Prior to call for passage of resolution 2016, is there any discussion? All right, hearing none, will the clerk please call roll on passage of resolution 2016?
Mr. Simmerly,
Yes.
Mr. Minnick,
Yes.
Mrs. Adler,
Yes.
Mr. Cobain,
Yes.
Mrs. Waring,
Yes.
Mrs. King,
Yes.
Mr. Berger.
Yes.
Resolution 2016 passes. And that will conclude our legislative agenda for this evening. We will now have reports of communications from the mayor and his directors. Mayor Cooney, if you're ready.
Thank you, Council President Kilbane. I'd like to thank Clerk Westbrooks for all her help in putting this agenda together. We had, as everyone could see, a lot of new items introduced, a couple of them relating to union contracts that there was a lot of just details at the end, putting those together. And, unfortunately, we didn't get, as it happens sometimes, those things aren't done as quickly as we would like. So I really appreciate her help and patience with us and getting all these items together and out to you in a timely fashion. So thank you, Liz. I'd also like to thank the members of the service department for their efforts last Tuesday during the snowstorm. I had the pleasure of walking my dog about 1 o'clock in the morning when it started snowing. And it snowed, throughout the day. We had a number of members of our service department who were out sick. And so we didn't have a full staff. We did have a couple of service department members who had scheduled vacation, and they came in to help with that storm. As I'm sure everybody knows, it was very wet, heavy snow on top of rain, which made it difficult and difficult conditions and treacherous conditions. So, and it snowed really throughout the day. Every time I looked out the window, it just seemed like it just kept coming. So thank you to them for their efforts. I know it was a long day, and it's quite a project in doing that because you have to try to time when you can bring people in. And with the forecast, that storm was forecasted to be, to roll into Wednesday. So you have to be careful as to how you schedule people. So I know people came in early, they left and came back, and I really appreciate their work. And Supervisor Brightgum and his managing that storm. With a storm of that size, obviously there's things that, may not have been attended to right away, and we apologize for any inconvenience that people experience as a result of that. I know that a few of the council members contacted Director Costello and myself about those situations, and I appreciate that. And I would encourage all of you in the future, if there is something that you see or a constituent brings to your attention that needs, attention, be it during the time of the storm or subsequent to that, please let us know. We'd be happy to talk to you about that. With respect to the storm, obviously there was a lot of limbs that were down. So the service department is going around collecting those limbs, and for people, because of the nature of the storm, there are larger limbs, and typically we would ask things be cut down to a smaller size or bundled, but due to the circumstances, that is not necessary unless you need to do it to drag it to your tree lawn. We would ask that if the plan is to address this in zones. So we would ask people if they are going to bring items to their tree lawn, that they call the service department and provide an address so that we can collect these in an organized fashion. Speaking of down trees, people have tried to get down into the metro parks from Brookway. They are not going to be able to do that because of the storm. We were in touch with the metro parks, and Valley Parkway is closed from Mastic Hill to Shepherd's Lane in North Olmsted. There are currently about 100 trees down on the Valley Parkway, and which really makes, it's obviously people can't get through. They've been working on clearing those items since the storm, and they're hoping to have it cleared up by this coming Friday. We will keep you posted on that. It's not open to vehicular traffic. It may be open to people walking or running, but I think it would be helpful to the metro parks that people be, maybe find a different route or different path to hike or run while they work on this. So we will keep everybody posted on that, but it just really shows you the extent and strength of that storm, the damage that was caused there in the metro parks. With regard to the building department, we have a planning and design commission meeting next Wednesday, 2 Wednesdays from now, Wednesday, December 16th at 7 p.m. Commissioner Maynard has advised that the NASA project is moving along, the L building, which will house the hotels. He's been up there on a weekly basis lately, doing a number of inspections, and there are some work is also going on in the K building, but the L building is moving along faster. I was up that way earlier today, and I saw a number of vehicles there for construction workers there working, so that's a great sign. Our Senior Life Center is now completely virtual. That doesn't mean that there's not things to do. There are a lot of opportunities for people to still get together, be it virtually. We have trivia programs, exercise programs, Name That Tune, and bingo, just to name a few things. if people, have not signed up for those programs, I would encourage them to call the Senior Center at 440-356-4437 to sign up, and they can help you with future programs. With regard to the Recreation Department, I just want to remind all the users of the Gemini Center to wear their mask when they're there, and even when they're not working out, if they're going in between machines. I was there on Friday, and I was happy to see that a lot of people were using their masks even while working out. We still have the machines in the fitness floor spaced, socially distanced, in a socially distanced manner. And, happy to see people up there working out, and again, ask them to be respectful of their fellow members and when wearing their masks and cleaning their machines after their use. I just want to remind our visitors that children under 15 need to be accompanied by an adult when they're there. So we just ask that people keep that in mind. I'd like to thank the Recreation Department, in particular Danielle Danberg, for her Light Up the Neighborhood challenge. She really inspired a lot of people. I've been out throughout the community, and there really have been some wonderful displays throughout our city. I've seen and heard a lot of people driving around, looking at these displays, and I'd like to compliment people on their creative and festive displays. It's actually if you're even out walking or driving to the grocery store or wherever it is, there's really a lot of different things to look at. And I've noticed, especially on this past weekend, there's a lot of families that are driving throughout the city looking at the display. So it's a great community project, and it's nice to see people enjoying it. So thank you, Danielle, for that great idea. I'd also like to thank the Recreation Department for their virtual visits with Santa and virtual visits to the North Pole. And those are obviously, with today's challenges, I appreciate their creativeness in putting those things together. While some things are different in 2020, one thing that will remain the same is that Santa Patrol will be going forward on Christmas Eve. So we're happy to report that Santa Claus is coming to Fairview Park Christmas Eve morning. We'll have some more details on that in the next few weeks, but everybody can count on that. And so please behave yourselves, because he is coming on Christmas Eve. Council President, that concludes my report. Thank you, everybody. Please stay safe and healthy. Have a good night.
Please convey our thanks to the big fella from up north too.
Will do.
Thank you. Okay, Director of Public Service and Development, Costello.
Thank you, Council President. I just want to echo the appreciation that Mayor Cooney expressed for our service personnel. They worked very hard, and we are still cleaning up tree debris. So thank you very much for your support in passing legislation. During the storm, we needed some assistance with some of the very dangerous situations that developed during that storm. And in fact, we still, like the Metro Parks, are cleaning up after. So I appreciate everyone's efforts in the service garage, and they continue to do a very nice job serving our constituents. I appreciate them very much. Thank you. That concludes my.
Thanks for keeping us in the loop, Director. We appreciate it. Director of Finance, Single.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let me start by asking if you can hear me.
We can hear you.
Okay, great. Thank you. Good evening, everybody. A couple items. One, monthly reports for November have been distributed. As always, if there are any questions, please let me know. And then, as we heard tonight, there are many items in the Finance Committee. If any member of council has any questions regarding any of the items, please let me know. And that concludes my report tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. Law Director Riley.
Thank you, Council President. Nothing this evening.
Thank you, Director. City Engineer Kerber.
Thank you, Council President. We continue to work with ODOT on the West 210th plans. We are awaiting their review of the Phase 3 submittal. Once we get that back, we'll be moving towards starting to get that bid hopefully early in the year in 2021. That completes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Engineer Kerber. Okay, now's the what is set aside for a public session. Clerk Westbrooks, have we been contacted by anyone who would like any comments read during public session, or anyone want to speak during public session? Did we lose you, Liz?
Park upgrades. I did forward her before the meeting the information from the public meeting that we had for the upgrades that were proposed. So I don't know if any, I did send it to that. Legislation was sponsored by Councilwoman King and co-sponsored by Councilman Minnick. I doubt that either one of them may have spoken to her. They can jump in if they did, but it sounds like she's okay with what she has. She does have a follow-up question, which I will forward to the administration. But if Councilwoman King or Councilman Minnick have anything, please feel free to chime in.
I missed the beginning of what you said, Liz. I don't know if anyone else caught it.
Well, I was saying that I received an email back from her. I sent her the information regarding that Vulcan Park.
From who?
I'm sorry, hold on. Doreen Papachik.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Okay.
To follow up with that, I have not had a
Councilman
chance.
Minnick or Councilwoman King.
I have not had a chance to contact her tonight, but I will follow up with her later this week to make sure all of her questions were answered.
That was, Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Mayor?
That's regarding Vulcan Park, Clerk Westbrooks?
Yes.
Yes.
Is that the grant, the county grant?
Yes.
Yes, I did
Okay.
send her the documents that were the presentation that was done on it. So it sounded like she was okay with receiving that. She did have a follow-up question that I'll forward, asking about public input and about the Shade Tree Advisory Committee being involved in that. So I don't know the answer to that. So that's why I'm going to go ahead and forward that to the administration or whoever's dealing with that grant.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Was there anything else for public session, Clerk Westbrooks?
No, I didn't receive anything else.
All right, thanks very much. Okay, we'll have miscellaneous business and comments by members of council. Councilman Simmerly.
Thank you. I too, like others, just wanted to thank the service department for their work last week. It's much appreciated. And then also Director Costello too, you've answered a handful of questions for me over the past couple of days. So really appreciate it and got back to me very quickly. So thanks for that. And that's all I have tonight.
All right, thank you. Councilman Minnick.
Thank you, Council President. The Board of Control met this evening at 6:30 to discuss the 4 items. Sylvester Truck and Tire Service purchased tires for 3 pickup trucks used in snow removal, the signed signal truck, and a dump truck used for snow removal, to be purchased from the state's cooperative purchasing contracts in the amount of $5,142.04. Buckeye Power Sales Company, emergency repairs to the main controller board on pump station generator at the West 220 Sherwood Pump Station. Costs are $6,979.31, which was approved. Partners Manufacturing Group, emergency purchase of materials to make leaf vacuum machine repairs. Purchase includes belts, bearings, and parts for partial rebuild of equipment. Cost $7,502.46, approved. And purchase from Atwell's Police and Fire Equipment Company for 8 bullet-resistant vests for our police personnel. $6,598.20. That was approved. At this time, I like to I move to grant a 75-day extension of City Council's mandatory referral for a report and recommendation for Ordinance 20-38, rezoning a parcel 321-29027 to the Planning Design Commission as per Article 7, Section 2D of the City Charter.
So moved. Do I have a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none, will the clerk please call roll on the motion?
Mr. Simmerly,
Yes.
Mr. Minnick,
Yes.
Mrs. Adler,
Yes.
Mr. Cobain,
Yes.
Mrs. King,
Yes.
Mr. Berger,
No.
Okay, the motion carries.
Council President, I don't know if Liz skipped me, if I couldn't hear her, but I want to, for the record, say that my vote is yes.
okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is that all, Councilman Minnick?
Take up police report, Council President. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Adler.
Yes, I just wanted to ask Director Costello if she has any updates on the Mastic Hill project.
Yes, thank you. We have confirmed with the contractor, Kaposing, that they plan on being completed at the latest the week of December 21st, which is of course Christmas week, but that they hope to see that finish up before then. They have through that week and with their contract with the County Public Works folk. So that's one half of the update. The other half of the update is we've checked with Metro Parks just last week to see how their grant was progressing through, and ODNR has confirmed that they're scoring the grant applications, but they have not confirmed that there will be any awards. So we're anxiously, patiently waiting to hear about that portion, which is of course the walking trail portion of the project that will join the recently completed bridge construction that has some pedestrian accommodation. So we will, as soon as we hear anything new for you, we will let you know. But yes, before the end of the year, we should see that road open. So it's my most frequently asked question. So I'm glad you brought it up. Thank you.
Good to hear. And then I also wanted to give a little shout out to Director Costello's son. Amidst the snowstorm, Director Costello was concerned that although driveways were getting cleared, some of the seniors might have trouble, having their walks not shoveled. So her son, Michael Costello, a student at St. Ignatius, made himself and some buddies available to help to shovel for these seniors. So my compliments to you on raising a very fine young man and offering his assistance during the snowstorm. Thank you.
Oh, yes. Mr. Zix was one of the fine young men from St. Ignatius that was also out with my son. Thank you. That's very kind of you.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Waring?
Thank you, Council President. I just wanted to reiterate a great big thank you to our service workers who worked diligently during the December 1st storm. We know that you sacrifice time with your family and even your own sleep to help clear the snow in the city, and we really respect that you do that job and you do it well and to the best of your ability. So thank you for working so diligently to clear that snow. And then even in the days after the storm, working to clear other city properties, help to pick up the tree branches of all of the residents, etc. We really cannot function as a city without that department, and it really shows after an event like this. So thank you. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Councilwoman King?
Thank you, Council President. I just would like to echo the thank you to the service department. I think they did a great job on their first snowstorm of this year. And following with what Mayor Cooney said, I think that all of the Christmas lights are fantastic, especially if you have not been down Seabury in Ward 5. It is really something wonderful. People really outdid themselves this year. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Berger?
Yeah, I had one question for the down trees and limbs. For if they call the service department at 4410. If anyone has any trees.
Correct. 356-4410.
Right,
Thank
great,
you.
thank you. And yeah, so the service department just continues as the stars of this meeting. So appreciations to them as well as to Mary Kay. You know, it was a nasty storm and the trucks were out early. I saw them out when I was going to work in the morning. So I saw them again when I was coming home from work. So it was very impressive. So I extend my gratitude as well to all the people who helped out. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. I too would like to mirror everyone's thanks for the to the service department for doing a great job. It was a hell of a storm. And to Director Costello for keeping in touch with us, keeping in touch with council, and letting us know what's going on. Director Costello, have you heard anything from ODOT about the Lorraine Avenue Bridge and when we might be getting that back fully?
The Lorraine Avenue Bridge is being painted currently, and that project's going to continue into next year. There's work underneath the bridge that they need to do, and in order to do it safely, it's better to do it under a little better weather conditions. So I don't believe we'll see ODOT off of our Lorraine Road Bridge through the summer of 2021. Just it's going to be wonderful when it's done, and it's an important means to protect that bridge, but there's still some work to be done.
So we'll look for the continued lane closures.
Yes, that I would imagine that's on their schedule, on the ODOT schedule, but since this contractor has through next summer to complete that work, I would anticipate seeing, as weather allows, that work progressing.
See how the railings are done. So yeah, they just have to paint those and then underneath.
Yep.
All right, well, thank you very much. Hey, I too would like to thank our clerk, Liz Westbrooks, for doing a great job with this agenda as usual. And I'd also like to announce that council had an executive session November 16th, 2020 for the purpose of conferences with an attorney for the public body concerning disputes involving the public body that are subject to pending or imminent court action and matters required to be kept confidential by federal law or rules or state statutes. Okay, there being no further business to come before this council this evening, the chair will now entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Would the clerk please call roll on the motion?
I'm sorry, you guys, my connection is trash today. Mr. Simmerly, I'm sorry, I'm looking for your.
I can hear you now. Yes.
Okay. Mr. Minnick,
Yes.
Mrs. Adler,
Yes.
Mr. Kilbane,
Yes.
Mrs. Waring,
Yes.
Mrs. King,
Yes.
Mr. Berger.
Yes.
Okay, the motion carries. Council is adjourned. Thanks, everybody. Have a
Thank
safe
you.
week.
Stay safe.
Thank you.
Take care.
Everybody.
Thank you. Have a
Thanks.
good night, everybody. Take care.